Hey everyone, Craig Williams here, back with another video. In this video, I'm going to show you some quick tips to add a little bit more groove and swing to your drums and to your synths as well, just the whole project to help it sound less robotic and give it some more groove. So this is a remix that I did a while ago for Ty. The link is in the description, so you can download it. It's a free download and all that sort of stuff. And this is the drums. This is just a section of the drums that I'll play for you, so you guys can get a feel for what we're listening to. So you can hear there it has like a bit of a groove to it. It has a bit of a swung feeling, but most of the drums are still pretty straight to go along with all the synths and stuff like that. So the first way to quickly get some swing in your drums is, the easiest way that I find is just sidechain compression. I'm using this for two reasons. Obviously, one, to help the kick punch through a little bit more and help to give all the drums room. But in this instance, I've pulled the threshold down a fair bit, and it gives the drums a nice swing to it. So if I took that off, I'll leave it on the kick. If I took that off, you can hear that's really straight and doesn't really have much groove to it. Here there, it has a nice little groove, a nice little swing and stuff like that to it. So that's one really quick way to get a nice little swing going. And obviously if you play around with the release and the attack and stuff like that, you're going to come up with different sort of different swings and different feels for it. The next one would be Quantize. It's obviously the one that most of you guys use. So here we just have a little hat, and then to make it a little bit easier for you, I'll just make that into a 16th. So you can hear that I've got a little bit of sidechain compression on that. So if we come along here, put sidechain compression and put, so you can hear that it is working a little bit, and again, that's, you can hear the sidechain compression. It's giving it sort of a not so much a human feel, but it's sort of like if you were to mess around with the velocities and stuff like that, that's how you could get that sort of feel instead of using sidechain compression. If we come along and we look at Quantize, so here we've got a 16th pattern, and if we come along and make sure it's Quantize the 16ths, and as you can see here, I've got all the MPC 3000, MPC 60s, the SP 1200s, as well as the built-in Logic ones. I'll have all these as a link so you guys can download them, and then you can put them into your project, so then you guys can use them. They'll be you can save them, and then you can use them in your Logic projects or Ableton or whatever. So good swing is, most of you guys would obviously be using Quantize, but for people that are just starting out and they want to know how to get that feel and what Quantize is doing, you probably may have looked at it and just didn't realize what the actual function of it was. I'll just give you a quick rundown. So we've got 16C, which is a pretty sort of famous, a lot of people use 16C in their projects. Find that a lot of like progressive house and stuff like that has a nice feel to it. So if we come along and so you can hear there, it's got a nice little groove that goes along to it. And all that you have to do is, when you're making your track, is come along and experiment with different quantized values to help you find what's going to work for you. So obviously 16A is going to be the smallest amount of quantize, and as we go up higher, you can see it's like it's pushing the second and third notes out. So 16C will go up a little bit further, D is even further, and then if we go F, it's like really swung out. So there you go. Obviously if you were running a if you were running a pattern and it was just 8th notes, we were to delete these. If you apply quantize to these as a 16th value, it's not going to do anything because you don't have those notes that it's actually going to apply quantize to. So that's when you would reach for something like the 8th note. We come along and then you're going to get the quantize. So there's a little quick rundown of the quantize and stuff like that. Delete that one out and move that across. Some next thing you can do is, and the thing that I like to do is add different elements that will help provide some more swing to it, and then you can also add quantize or compression to those elements to help give your track the swing. So in this instance, I've added this little tom. So if I play it, and the way that I've got the groove there, it sort of gives that sort of push and pull, and it gives the element a little bit more groove to it. So if I was to add added the little percussive here, and you can hear then it starts to have that push and pull, and it gives a little bit more groove to the track. Some other things you can do is I've added this little hat loop in here, and as you can see in there, it's got different hats come in at different values. So you can hear there it's got sort of natural groove in there by the way the elements sit together. So just some things to think about when you're making your drums and stuff like that, and when you're building your percussive elements and your drums together. Don't necessarily just have come along. And you can see there it's already got a groove applied to it, which is one that I've done from earlier by coming up here and applying the groove from here. This is a bounced out audio loop, that's why it doesn't have it applied to the second time around. If you were to just have a hat like this, compression's on, it does have a little bit of swing, but when you compare it to the original, so you hear that there, when you apply it to, it just has a bit more groove to it, has a bit more movement, and you're not just having just the one static element like I've done down here. You have multiple elements with the sort of the open hat shaker sort of sound, and as well as the hat, the 16th hat going underneath. So don't be afraid to experiment with some sounds and get stuff to work a little bit better. Pull loops in and cut sections out of loops. If you like different sounds, just cut those sounds out and then, but still keep the groove of the track. So if we were to come along and go on here and then come along to my samples. This is just going to be any sort of random sort of sample. 28. So here we go. Got this nice little sound here. Has a nice little groove to it already, but what we can do so there's a couple of little sounds that I don't really like in there, so you can come along and just start to mute out different sections. This is where you can come along, come in here, get rid of that, and then maybe do like little edits and stuff like that. And then this is how you sort of build your grooves up. Keep building and building it, and find those sounds. Don't just use one sample for your hats and one sample for something else. Try and pull a variety of sounds and give your tracks the sort of the life, and give them a bit more feeling than just having the static sort of drums. That's what I find a lot of people really struggling with the tracks that I get sent, is the drums just, they're either, if they are mixed well, they're very static, and they don't make your head want to bop around. You just sort of sit there and they feel very very computer, very robotic. So that's about it for now. Hopefully you guys got something out of that without me just rambling on too much. And don't forget to subscribe to everything, Facebook, SoundCloud, YouTube, and all that. And if you've got any further questions, feel free to post them in the comments below. Until next time, see you later.